Let's take a look at the camera app itself. Let's launch it. If you swipe left or right, you navigate through the different camera modes. They are Pano, Portrait, Photo, Video, Slow-Mo, and Time-Lapse. Let's go over each one and all of their controls. Pano is for shooting wide panoramic shots. Your camera basically shoots multiple images and stitches them together for a super wide shot. You hit the shutter button and then slowly pan the camera while trying to keep the on-screen arrow on track. After you have moved the camera enough, the photo is saved. The finished pano is pretty cool. You'll notice the 0.5x and the 1x option. This switches between the normal lens and the wide lens on the camera. I really love the lenses on this camera. You can quickly go to all of your captured photos by tapping the image in the lower left-hand bottom of the screen. You can press this button to share and organize your photos in a variety of ways. From AirDrop to messages, from mail to Instagram, Apple makes sharing quite easy. Portrait mode is next. It's great for taking portraits. It isolates the subject by creating a nice soft out-of-focus background look. You'll notice the selfie option for using the selfie camera. Just tap it. Tap it again to use one of the other two cameras. You can also select the light mode from natural light all the way to high key light mono. These options control how the camera lights the face and how it affects the background of the shot. I mainly leave it on natural light for the most natural look. If we press this up arrow at the top, it rotates down and reveals a bunch of different controls. The first one is Flash Auto, on or off, which obviously controls the flash on the camera. Exposure control is next. It's the plus or minus symbol. Here you can tell the camera to expose the auto exposure setting darker or brighter, all the way from -2 to +2. The phone usually does a good job with exposure, so I typically leave it on 0. The timer is next, which can be turned on and then set to 3 seconds or 10 seconds. I'll select 10, then press the shutter. 10 seconds later, it takes the shot. Nice for putting yourself in the shot. I'll turn it off now like this. Then you can give your photo a look using various filters. From original to vivid warm to vivid cool to dramatic warm to dramatic cool to mono to silver tone to noir. These filters are pretty nice if you want to use them. Then you get the f-stop control. The f-stop goes from f1.4 up to f16. This control will be familiar to photographers. Basically, the lower the f-stop setting, the better for low light shooting and making the background of the image blurrier. The higher the f-stop number, the sharper the background will be, but usually more light is required to get a clean image. Photo mode is next for taking regular photos. You can see we can switch between the wide and tighter lens by tapping 0.5x or 1x. The selfie button is down here. If we tap the up arrow at the top, more controls are revealed. like flash auto on and off. Then we have live photo auto, on or off. Basically, live photo records what happens 1.5 seconds before and after you take a picture. What you get is more than a still photo. It's a moment captured with movement and sound. To view a live photo, just hold your finger on the screen, and your picture comes to life. The next option is aspect ratio. You can choose from square, also known as 1:1, 4:3, or 16:9. Here are examples of each. Then we have exposure compensation again, then the timer. Then we have the different filters you can shoot in again. Now let's talk about night mode. When light levels are low, you'll see a moon icon on your screen. This is night mode. When you tap it, you can turn it off, set it to auto in the middle, or set it as high as max, which in some cases could be 29 seconds. This keeps the camera's shutter open longer than normal when you take a picture, which allows you to take good pictures in very dim light. It works best when using a tripod or at least holding the camera as still as possible. I took this picture in near darkness, just using a candlelight with no flash. And look how good it came out. Now let's check out video mode. As you can see, in the upper right-hand corner of the screen, the resolution and frames per second settings are displayed. We are shooting 4K 24 frames per second. You can tap these settings to easily change them. Here's what 24 frames per second looks like. Here's what 60 frames per second looks like. The difference may be subtle to most people. Pressing the red shutter button begins recording. We see the runtime counter of our video displayed on the top center of the screen. Tap it again to stop recording. We can switch between the wide and tighter lens by tapping 0.5x or 1x. If we drag one of those numbers to the left a little bit, we get a zoom wheel. You've seen the other controls earlier, like turning on the selfie camera. Let's swipe left to get into slow-mo mode. As you can see in the right-hand corner of the screen, we are set to record slow-motion video in 720p at 240 frames per second. You can tap these settings to easily change them. The flash icon on the upper left just turns the camera light on and off. Let's swipe left now and go to time-lapse mode. In case you didn't know, time-lapse is the technique where your camera records a single frame every so often over a period of time and combines the individual frames into one video. This compresses time. Say for example we were shooting a sky with clouds in it for 30 minutes. In real time, we barely notice the clouds moving, but in time-lapse, the clouds move across the sky in a matter of seconds. It looks awesome. This technique works best when the iPhone does not move. If we click the arrow up button at the top, it reveals the plus or minus exposure control. To begin recording a time-lapse video, simply press the red shutter button, then go and relax. Time-lapses should be shot for at least 10 minutes or longer. A few more things I wanted to go over. I wanted to show you how to lock exposure and focus. This is helpful when you see that your iPhone camera is hunting around for focus and not focusing on the right thing. This doesn't happen often, but sometimes you'll run into it. You simply tap on your subject and then hold your finger against the screen. You'll see AE/AF lock, auto exposure, auto focus lock. To turn it off, simply double tap on a different part of the screen. You can also adjust exposure using your finger. Tap the screen, then adjust your exposure up or down by sliding your finger up and down on the screen. Double tap somewhere else to go back to auto exposure. These are handy things to know when the auto settings aren't quite working. Well, I hope you learned something from this video. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.